Tony, there's a really good comeback story this weekend at Doomben with Night Mariner returning to the races after the Sunshine Coast Guineas a couple of years ago. This is a horse that you probably never thought you'd see back in the stable.
Well, not at that time, on the day of that race. First of all, I thought he was looming to win the race, and you just see him slightly go and miss, and then he pulled up, and then obviously when they were easing down, past the post, it was apparent he was quite badly injured. So first point in call was to make sure we could try and save his life, and then, the thoughts of getting back to the races, we're certainly not even on the agenda early doors, but through the good work of Tony Doherty up the Sunshine Coast Vet Clinic, and then the guys at Gatton, and then Letitia Langbecker at Embrook, it's been a big team effort, and it looks as though we've got him back here this Saturday.
So it was obviously really important what happened in the immediate moments after that race that day.
Yeah, the first 24, 48 hours were really crucial. Obviously it was pretty apparent that we had a fracture. We hadn't been able to do a scan, etc. Totally.
So it was a fractured pelvis.
Fractured pelvis, yeah. And with a fractured pelvis, there's all different sorts of fractures you can get. The most common ones are what we call the wing fracture, which is on the edge of the pelvis, which is obviously the best one for healing and stabilising as they get closer to the sacroiliac, which is the main joint where the pelvis attaches to the spine. It's probably the worst type, and that's where which we found a few days post that when we did a scan, that's where his fracture was. So the initial bit was all stabilising, making sure he didn't get down enough. If he got down in the box, he may not be able to get up, or he would have really displaced that fracture a lot more. So we had to try and keep that fracture as stable as possible.
So at what point did it become apparent that, okay, he was going to survive? And then when do you start thinking beyond that of maybe a racing career continuing?
After the first 48 hours, it was pretty apparent that he was going to survive, and then it was a matter of just how much damage we had. So we went to Gatton then, and we did some scans and some more tests there. He spent some more time there. From that point on, we knew exactly what we had. Would he get back to the race or not? It was 50-50 at best. Then he went back for more rest at Embrook, and then back to Gatton for some more tests, more rest, more tests. It was just a scenario of that until we were comfortable where things were at. Then it was like a sort of suck it and see situation, just get moving with him and just see what we had, and it's been stabilised beautifully.
So he's had a couple of preparations back now?
He has. He came back for another prep once the first bit was up. We actually did a bit of work with him, backed off him and brought him in and give him a prep. So we've always done more rest and rehabilitation than probably what was required.
At the time of the injury, he was one of the most promising horses in the stable. He looked a talented stayer in the making. Do you think he could get back to that type of level?
Yeah, look, I hope so. Look, I don't try to think about the injury now. Like, it's like anything. If you break your leg, you don't worry about your broken leg for the rest of your life, do you? You just get on with the job. And I think that's where we're at with him. He's had an injury that the bones had enough time now to callus up and heal, like it would a person, and we just move on.
So what sort of expectations have you got for him this weekend?
I'd like to see him running on into the top 4 or 5 Saturday. I know he's been off the scene for a while, but he's certainly in the right grade of race. He's a far better talent than what a No Metro win presents, even though it's a competitive race. I want to see him just relax sort of midfield, maybe a touch worse even, and really run on. And most of my team Saturday, I'm happy for good ground at Doomben, but for this bloke here, I would love a little bit of cut in the track. But regardless of that, he's certainly there to run well. We've given him 3 jump outs or trials over 1,000 metres, so the base has certainly been put on him. And his last one at Deagon I thought was very encouraging, the way when Sam just asked him for a bit of an effort, he really picked up and hit the line, and that's really what we're seeing here. So he's exactly the same sort of horse in his track work. He doesn't knock the socks off here in track work. He looks after himself, which I think is a benefit for him with the injuries he has had. And hopefully Saturday we'll see him hitting the line.
I imagine there's a fair few people here at the stables and with regards to staff and that have a nice bit of sentiment attached to this horse.
Oh sure, particularly the guys that ride him quite a lot. They're probably most of our mainstays here, and obviously Cav, our foreman, etc. But yeah, at the time it was really upsetting, really distressing that day at Sunshine Coast. You never like to see one of your horses, well, A, not come home from the races, but B, get floated off a racetrack. It's pretty disheartening. So to see him back at the race on Saturday is going to be a feat in itself, but we certainly want to see him back there. We're not there to make up numbers, we're there to watch him race well, and he seems to be really enjoying what it's all about here at the stables, and hopefully we'll see that Saturday.